The other day, a friend of mine surmised that CNN's ratings are in the toilet because people are finally starting to wake up to their BS. As nice as that would be, I'm afraid that's not the case. Here are the three main reasons why CNN's ratings are diarrhea at this point, and a fourth reason why it will slowly continue. The first reason is because the hysteria over the pandemic is coming to an end. For more than a year, the stories at CNN were designed to scare the crap out of us over a virus that most of us were never in any real danger of losing our lives to. As we saw with the undercover video from Project Veritas, COVID-19 was gangbusters for ratings.
COVID, gangbusters of ratings. Gangbusters of ratings.
Gangbusters of ratings.
That was a technical director from the network admitting that a bunch of old people dying was good for CNN. He would later say that the next emergency they're going to make the audience panic over is going to be climate change. It's actually something they've been trying to do for years now, but it just doesn't seem to take. Scaring the crap out of us has been the go-to strategy at CNN since its inception. In recent times, they were either trying to scare us about COVID or they were trying to scare us about Trump. Which brings us to the second reason why CNN's ratings are in the toilet. Trump is no longer in office. And with social media platforms having banned him, he doesn't get too many headlines these days. And that's bad for CNN. For more than 4 years, their entire network was dedicated to destroying Donald Trump. Not only were they ginning up Trump outrage, they were also cashing in on that outrage. CNN was the first 24-hour news channel. And that means they have to make news seem important 24 hours a day. That's why you often see chyrons that say breaking news, and even about something that happened more than a century ago. Just look at their website description. Breaking news is the thing they list first. But let's be honest, everyone does breaking news. It's that news they interrupt regularly scheduled programming with. The kind of news that doesn't happen every day. Unless you're running a 24 hours a day news network, then you necessarily have to make every little thing seem big and important. Think about for how long CNN told us that Trump colluded with Russia. Almost 3 years. Then the Mueller report came out and proved there wasn't any collusion. And can you guess what happened to their ratings? They instantly dropped by 25%. But things picked back up when COVID and George Floyd came along in an election year. It was the perfect storm. They fanned the flames of racial division and tried to scare us to death about the novel coronavirus. Then they blamed Trump for everything. And the outrage they built up for years paid off. 2020 was a great year for CNN. But now Derek Chauvin's been convicted, COVID's been defeated, and Trump's been retired. At least for now, anyway. The third reason, which I'm not going to talk too much about, is that 2021 is not an election year. The kind of audience that CNN attracts are fair weather fans, if you will. CNN is a well-known brand, and that name recognition attracts an audience when there are actually big stories people want to check out. And that brings us to the fourth reason CNN's ratings will continue to go down. It's because they ended their contract for their airport network a couple months ago. You know, the most CNN I've ever watched in one sitting was a layover I had at an airport. A lot of people hate to travel, but I never minded it so much. I make friends easily, so I always talk with people and make the best of it. But the worst part was always CNN playing at every terminal. I hated that. Did you know that there are around 2.9 million people who fly every day in America? And there are about 1.2 million people who work full-time at commercial airports. That means millions of people have been forced to watch the CNN airport network every day for the past 30 years. That reinforced their name recognition, which is hugely important, especially with the type of people that aren't really paying all that much attention to what's going on in the world. When a big story breaks, those people tune into a name they know. And this contract ending will slowly hurt their brand. So those are the reasons why CNN is in the crapper. The hysteria over COVID is coming to an end. Trump ain't in office anymore. It ain't an election year. And CNN is no longer forced onto millions of people every day at airports. I really do wish it was because people are starting to see through their BS, but I don't think that's the case. If Trump starts having rallies again, their ratings will go up. If China infects the world with another virus, their ratings will go up. And when the next election year comes around and Democrats whip up racial anger and division, CNN's ratings will go up. The sad part is that they created a business model that necessarily has to keep their audience outraged and paranoid. To be successful, CNN had to convince you that Trump colluded with Russia, that Trump was the next Hitler, and that COVID-19 was all Trump's fault and was a death sentence if you got it. They have to convince you that the sky is falling every day. They have to portray everything they report as being big and important, because if it's not, why would you watch? Let me leave you with this bit of information. According to a Heartland Institute survey, 25% of people who get their news from CNN believe that 500 or more unarmed blacks are killed every year by the police. The real figure is around a couple dozen. But why do a quarter of CNN viewers get it so wrong? It's because CNN does not report the actual facts and statistics on issues. They build narratives. Their interest lies not with keeping people informed, but rather keeping them scared and outraged. And that is the simple truth. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you want to become a supporting member of Blue Collar Logic, click on the link in the description and give what you can.